Okay. Hi. Again, take two. All right. We're good. We're good. Sorry. My streaming software completely crashed and wouldn't reopen. That was great. I keep doing really cringy things. That's what I do when I'm nervous. When you're nervous and chronically online, you do all those things that are ironically done on unironically, and it just happens. And I'm sorry. Thanks for joining us again. For those of you who made it back in, hi. Okay. So, DID and media. I am basically a cinephile. I love movies. I love dissecting movies and themes and metaphor, and it's great. I love film. I especially love film when it is representing parts of myself that I have previously felt ashamed of or like I had to hide, which is why this like queer representation renaissance that we're having right now, just where there's gay everywhere. I love it so much. It's very good. It's very lovely. And a couple years ago, we posted a video. We came out of retirement to post a video talking about The Crowded Room, which was a TV show that had been proposed at the time that was going to air on Apple TV Plus, starring Tom Holland and directed by somebody who's really famous, and I'm blanking because I was so nervous about the thing crashing that my brain's just blah. Wait, you're gay? We're queer. Yes. Most of the system is some form of LGBTQ. But yes, I am a queer person. I don't think I would legally be able to have this hair if I wasn't. Hello from France. Whoa, hi. Yeah, so the Crowded Room, we made a video being like, hey, so what's up? Don't make the show, because it was advertised as being it was going to be a dramatization of the life of Billy Milligan. And if you don't know who Billy Milligan is, good. I mean, he's most famous for doing a bunch of terrible things to people, and then getting acquitted, I think is the proper word. Excuse me if I'm using those words wrong, but he was not found guilty of the crimes, or because he had DID. And that is why he is famous. And that was the story they were going to tell. And I was like, oh my God, how about we don't do that? That's really bad, because it's just going to add more stigma to the existence of people with DID, or OSDD, people who are systems. We don't need the one real world example that is somebody with DID being just as terrible as the friggin' people in the horror movies that they make about us. Let's not talk about that, because people already think we're all that way, right? Let's just not fuel that fire. And then we saw nothing about it for years. We're like, sweet. We don't know if we influenced this, but it definitely did not get made, because it disappeared. Nobody was saying anything about it. Until a couple weeks ago, when they were like, June 9th, drops on Apple TV Plus. Oh my God. And we were like, no. They changed the name. So now they're saying it's not a dramatization of Billy Milligan. It's a story that's based off of his life. And, like, I think that was a way that they could tell a story with a character that was much more likable, because Billy Milligan did stuff that is unforgivable universally. Like, nobody looks at the stuff he did and was like, oh, but there could be a good reason, right? So I wonder that's probably why. And they're like being all, even though they're saying this, like it was like based on that, it's not better. That is correct. That's not better. But Yeah, so they're saying, like, oh, it's based on this story about this guy. But then they're also like, it's a mystery. And apparently there was one article written by a critic who said that the critics were being asked, like critics with early access, were being asked not to talk about the true story because that would ruin the mystery. I was like, why? What? Why would you advertise that it's about this guy? And then as soon as you Google that guy, the whole mystery to your show is solved. That's just silly on your part. That's just bad writing and advertising on your part, isn't it? So, I watched a borrowed copy of the first episode and a half. And it's genuinely bad. If you go into the show knowing it's about DID, the whole mystery is like, where did these people who you're talking about go? You're talking about these people, but we can't find any evidence of them. What did you do with them, Danny? And it's like, they're alters. They're obviously alters. And he's like, I don't know. I haven't seen them in days. And it's like, what do you, like, the way they're framing it is like, he doesn't seem to have any awareness that they're alters and that this is like in his head, right? They're like putting him in this world as if it's like one giant delusion. Like, is that what people think? How people experience DID? That we're like, oh, there's 9 people walking around in my empty apartment. Like, what? And it's so obvious that they're alters. Like, even like he has these 2 friends. This is all in the first episode. He has these 2 friends that are like his high school buddies. Nobody talks to them. They interact with nobody except for Danny at any point. Like, it's so glaringly obvious. And the one point that like one of the friends steps up to talk to somebody and he's like, we want to buy some weed. And the guy he's talking to looks at him and is like, we? Like, it's genuinely bad. The acting's good. I'll give it that. The acting's good, but I don't want to praise the acting too much because I'm a little salty at Tom Holland. I was going to be like, hey man, just bad form. But then after the show airs, he's like, this show was so emotionally draining to film. I need to take a year off and just grow some plants and just be with myself to recover from this show. And I'm like, oh my God, just get bent. Are you kidding me? Oh, I'm so sorry, you poor thing. Was it so difficult villainizing and othering an entire population of people? That must have been so difficult for you. You sweet martyr, go rest. You deserve, oh my God. So that was dumb, and now I'm mad at Tom Holland. I'm convinced Stinglets would assume we can see around corners by asking our alters to do it. Hey, listen, Daniel, can you just go to the grocery store for me? The body's gonna stay here, but I just don't have the energy. Can you astral project and go get some fucking banana bread or something? Oh, actors portraying minorities, they aren't always grinds my gears. Yes. Didn't he say, wow, I really empathize with these people now or something? He was like, oh, I hope that this helps people empathize with, like, victims or something. Like, he did say that he helped it open people's mind to mental health by making us seem crazy and unstable and delusional, and I know people don't like the use of the word crazy, I apologize, but like, come on. Come on. The actor from Split said that too. I'm more mad at him than I am at Tom Holland, because he went on to talk shows being like, yeah, so it's called dissociative identity disorder, and it used to be called multiple personality disorder, and before that it was called split personality disorder, which is blatantly untrue. Like, he's just making shit up and like trying to come off as like a DID professional or something. Like, he's worse. Um, but Tom Holland is also on my shit list now. Like, I really loved Spider-Man, and now I just look at it and I'm like, why are you like this? Oh, loved hearing about Daniel again. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Daniel's doing great. Yeets British boy into the garbage. Pick the wrong character for promoting empathy. I know. Just good God. Like, there's so much representation. Like, there's so many people who have, like, had documentary, like, been a part of documentaries, who have been, you know, talking about their journey with DID. And it's so powerful. Like, their stories are so powerful and inspiring. And, like, why not them? Why not them? Why this guy? Why this dude? Why? Because you wanted to have a mystery? You wanted to do the mystery? The Jekyll and Hyde mystery that everybody sees coming 10 miles away because it's old and reused so often? Like, what? I actually prefer being called crazy because I've grown up constantly being told that stuff was normal. Yeah. I mean, I as somebody who has been called crazy, I don't mind people using the word crazy as long as you're not, like, using it to diminish mental health stuff. I don't know. It's a complicated word that can be used evilly. But, yeah, Daniel is an example of a good man. Thank you. I'm glad you think so. I'm fond of him, too. I think he's very sweet. Why do research when you could make money? That seems to be the trend. That seems to be it. Trudy Chase? Good. Yes. We would love to see a dramatization TV show of Trudy Chase, as long as she was hand in hand with the writer and director the whole way and could, like, be like, hey, maybe don't depict us this way. Maybe shift the visualization this way. And you know, Jekyll and Hyde is about alcoholism, not DID. I mean, yes, but the whole, like, Jekyll and Hyde has become an umbrella term for anything that is split personality adjacent, you know? So it's, yes, it was originally a substance use thing. Oh, Trudy passed. I was unaware. Well, there we go. But I mean, there are lots and lots of people who they could have made stories. They could have made a whole fictional character. They could have not based it off anybody's story and just made a whole new character. You can make fun of my ADHD as long as we're all having fun. Yeah, it's all, you know, I can laugh at my stuff, but there are some people who I don't. It's laughing in good faith versus laughing in bad faith. It's the big difference, I think. Really like Mr. Robot. I watched one season and plus a couple episodes of Mr. Robot, and I thought that it was actually pretty decent. Like, the character is very realistic and grounded and very, like, the anti-hero that, you know, it's easy to love. But we just, it wasn't exactly our cup of tea plot-wise. Not that we didn't like it, it just, like, didn't hold our attention enough, and so we were like, we just kind of drifted away from it because we stopped doing YouTube, and we're like, there's no point in watching a show that we would rather be watching other things, because it's not like we're going to do a review on it after all, you know? We must have consent to make jokes. Yes! I thought Moon Knight was good representation. You guys. I love Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight so much. Like, impossibly in love with Moon Knight. Did I watch Moon Knight? I've watched Moon Knight multiple times. I love that show so much. I think that Oscar Isaac knocked it out of the park. I think he did amazing. I think that the writers did so many amazing things. I almost did a video just on Moon Knight after it aired and posted it. But I got too scared because YouTube is scary. And we got brave. We got brave for this live stream. I just want to say thank you to any of our patrons who are in the stream right now. Like, I've been seeing some names scrolling up. We were gonna like halt it altogether, and they were like, no, like, what if we just like did like a Zoom call once a month? And so we do now, and they really helped me feel brave enough to come back and do a live stream and like dip my toes back into being the entropy system again. I'm exceptionally grateful to them. They are amazing. And I love you all. Thank you for being great. YouTube is indeed scary. Yes. Did you watch United States of Terra? I did. I have a video on it. You can watch it. Spoiler alert. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. Did not like it at all. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. Somebody was saying there was, I'm going to talk more about Moon Knight. But somebody was saying that there was a show that was greenlit. I'm scrolling up on chat real quick. Jenny And is on greenlit, getting crowdfunded for its initial stages. They're actually getting several systems to consult, along with, Remy Aquaron, former international director of the ISSTD. That's cool as hell. Oh my God. Like, that's awesome. I hope that goes well and that gets greenlit. Like, I'm going to check that out after the stream. That's amazing. But yeah, so, Moon Knight. Let's talk about Moon Knight. So, first off, I guess spoilers for Moon Knight. It's been out for almost a year, I think. Roughly a year. Maybe longer. I don't remember when it came out. It's been out for a hot minute. So, spoiler, if that matters. But we love Moon Knight. We never thought we were going to see actual good DID representation. Let alone by Marvel? What? What? So you start off, right? Show starts off with Steven, showing Steven. He's having a rough go, but he's got a job. He's able to live life. It's a little shaky, but he's not just like in a corner being like, oh my God, nothing in life makes sense. Oh, life is so wild and I don't know anything and everything is scary. Like he's upset with, like, apparently he sleepwalks and he's definitely missing time and everybody calls him by the wrong name, but that's frustrating. But he's really passionate about his job and he does his best to make friends, even though, you know, the closest thing to a friend he has is a person who, like, one of those like living statue people who he just goes talk to because they can't walk away. It's the reason. First of all, Steven is just lovable. He's just a lovable character. He's so sweet and loving and just thrilled about the world. You know, he's a great guy who's very easy to love. But I love that they started with Steven because he was an alter who's created after Mark. And Mark is the alter who was the host for a very long time. Mark is the one who aligns with the body. Mark is the one who an audience who doesn't understand would be like, oh, so Mark's the real one and Steven's just extra. But you start with Steven. You understand that Steven is real, right? You understand that he's a real three-dimensional person with hopes and fears and aspirations and experiences. Like, he is real. And then you meet Mark and you're like, whoa, what's the deal with Mark? And then you find out that Mark used to be, I mean, they don't say the word host, but you find out that Mark used to be host. And so by doing that in that order, you solidify both parts of the system as real and as legitimate beings in the eyes of the audience, which is something I have never seen in DID representation. Never. So good, so amazing. They both have a character or a relationship with another one of the main characters that is like, she is just the best ally that could ever exist, by the way. Like, when she realizes what's going on, we love her. And you see this journey of Steven and Mark. At first, they're like fighting over who gets to be up front and like losing a bunch of time, and it's causing them to live a life that is disrupted constantly. But you see them start to build communication and work together over time, and by the end of the show, they are working together and switching smoothly and playing off of each other's strengths to solve problems. And you see how coming together as a system and breaking down amnesia barriers and building communication leads to functionality. And you get to see them doing that at the end of the show, and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. Also, not only do we have amazing DID representation, Steven is a motherfucking fictive? What? You're gonna give me good fictive representation? Also? Are you kidding me? Like, because, like, they explained, like, he came from this source and, like, why the brain decided that Stephen Grant was the character that they were going to recreate, but how Stephen is not just, like, a copy of that character, how he is his own person completely. Like, I was just like, what is this? What is this? So many of the episodes made me cry because I was like, you guys got it. You got it. And like, there are people who don't care for Moon Knight because Moon Knight is not an upstanding citizen. He is definitely like an anti-hero in the way that like Wolverine is, in that like he's a little violent. He's a little violent, but it's in the way that like I said, the way the Wolverine is, where you still love him and you understand, and he only uses violence when he has to or whatever, you know, like it's not framed in like, oh my god, isn't he so scary? Like, he's a character you love, even if he's not the hero, right? And man, they gotta make a season 2. Can they make a season 2? Please. I need a season 2, especially because they left us on a cliffhanger. Oh my god, there's a third altar. What's gonna happen? And like, he is a superhero with mystic powers, but that is not connected to his DID at all. Like, there have been superheroes with DID in the past, who like, every altar has a different superpower or whatever, but they didn't do that. They didn't make the DID mystical. They made the DID, and then also Mark made this deal with an Egyptian god that gets them like this superpower as long as he works for this Egyptian god to like protect people, right? So I love it so much. I am high-key obsessed. I love seeing a superhero or like that makes me feel seen. What did you think of the Jake reveal? I liked the Jake reveal. I thought it was cool. I thought it was very cool. I thought it was a little silly that in their like weird headspace journey, that Mark's running around and he sees a sarcophagus and he opens it and there's Steven. Oh my god, we're reunited. And then they see another sarcophagus that's shaking and they're like, no, we're going to ignore that. But that is such a DID thing though. Like, on one hand, I'm like, you're just gonna ignore that. But that's such a freaking DID thing to just be like, that was weird. Anyway, like, our brain can't explain that, so we're just gonna not think about it for a moment. Like, I really, really, really finally will watch the show for the 3rd time this week, not joking. It's so good. I love it so much. Hopefully, if Marvel decides to tell the story, they will put the same effort into addressing Bruce Banner having DID. Well, Bruce Banner, I mean, I think that Bruce works as a not DID story because the Hulk was created as the result of substance use. Like, he got exposed to gamma radiation, which I guess isn't substance use, but whatever. Like, I think that they don't have to go that route. In fact, it may be like too much if they do that. I don't want them to go too hard into it because like we're walking a very delicate path here. You know, like that's a problem for future us. Yeah, exactly. He has the idea in the comics, and from what I've been told, it is handled extremely well in the comics. I've not read them, but do dragons count as fictive? We haven't been able. Yeah. Fictives can be. If you have like a fictive of Smaug, that's a fictive dragon. But oh no, my tea's already getting cold. Like I know that it's canon in the comics. The comics don't fully overlap with the Marvel, MCU, and they have to appeal to a broad audience. And I just worry if they try to go too hard that they will get into the same gross tropes that they normally do in media in general. Where's husband? At work. He at work. They touched on it a bit with She-Hulk saying not having another guy. That's true. They did address that as a significant difference. That will be interesting to see what they do with that. Jake feels a perfect way to show Persecutors in a not evil light, like Mark and Steven coming to peace with him as his destructive ways. Yeah, like Jake is another reason that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are some systems who did not like Moon Knight because of Jake. And they're like, oh my god, it's an evil alter. Yeah, I'm seeing someone in the comments or in the chat being like, yeah, people think Jake killing Harrow at the end makes him an evil alter. But first of all, I disagree. And I was really frustrated. I hate the trope of like heroes being like, no, if I were to kill you, it would make me just as bad as you. Like, the bad guy is a guy who has killed an unfathomable amount of people and plans to wipe out most of the world's population with mythological powers. Like, no, you need to kill this guy. Like, what? You're just gonna walk away? You're just gonna let him get back up and do the thing that he was planning to do? What? Like, that frustrated me. So when Jake came out at the end and was like, actually, you're done. I was like, okay, good. We got that chapter closed. We're done with that. It's like, the whole thing about like the worst villain in Arkham is Batman because he keeps letting the Joker live, type of thing. Same vibes. Like, I don't think that superheroes should just go around like knocking people off, but like after you've done a certain amount of mass murder, like maybe you're done. Maybe you've given up your right to continue. It just sounds like hard protector vibes. Yeah. No, I don't think he feels the evil alter vibe. I think he's a very aggressive alter. But, Mark has killed a bunch of people too. Like, that's one of the big contentions of his plotline. So, it's not like, it just doesn't feel evil to me. It just feels anti-hero to me. And I like that. I think that's cool. I haven't been able to discuss the harm caused by the recent DID representation in Colorado with anyone else. DID representation in Colorado? I understand the need for representation in the fictional media, but legal misrep harms just as much. I somehow am not aware of this. I thought I stayed pretty up to date on things. Blocked my name. It's one of your system friends, but I can't say my own name. There are names that we have blocked because we don't want to talk about events that happened prior to us leaving YouTube. So if a name is blocked, that is why. Do you think Moon Knight is good representation? Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I love it so much. So much. Hello from Asia. It's 4 a.m. Oh my God. Your own name is blocked. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, no, that is just an unfortunate coincidence. I did not intend to block you specifically. Good to see you again. Thank you so much. We found it very upsetting about the end Jake reveal. A friend looked at us to describe it and says, oh, Moon Knight has real DID because he's... Oh, no. Nope. Bad vibes. Yeah. You should tell your friend to watch our videos. Tell your friend to watch our videos and get educated. Currently working on your DID diagnosis. Good luck. I hope it goes well. I know that it's hard. It's hard to get a diagnosis. And even if you're with someone who is willing to diagnose you, it's still a journey to sit down in therapy every day or every week or however frequently you go and like go over all the things you have to go over. So good luck. I hope that it goes well for you and it is quick. Will there be more of your videos? I don't know. I don't know what our future on YouTube is at this time. I don't have my Mac anymore. I'm working on a Windows computer and my video editing software was Apple only. So I am, if I did decide to make videos again, I'm restricted to, what is it called? Microsoft Clipchamp, which is not ideal, but I guess it'd be better than nothing. We kind of, this is us kind of, as kind of dipping our toes back into the YouTube world. Cause I mean, we left because things got kind of scary and our safety was a concern. And so we figure enough time has passed. It's been a few years. Like maybe we might be able to come back. We don't know. We don't know what that looks like. We're not making any promises at this point. But we wanted to give a live stream a shot, and just see what the reception was and how, you know, it was for you guys. How it is like interacting with you guys again. Not you guys, but like, sorry. Interacting with the community as a whole, again, publicly. Just seeing how that goes. We missed you. Thank you. You made us realize we had DID. Oh, that's lovely. I'm so glad. Like, realizing what it is after a lifetime of not knowing is so good. Channel called Cinema Therapy that did a video on Split. Have you seen it? I have not seen that. I have seen Split. And I didn't make a video on Split specifically. I did make a video on Glass though. Which you guys are welcome to watch. I have a complicated relationship with Split. Because it's a mix of good information and representation and very, very bad information and representation, which I would argue is worse than just bad, because when you mix good in with bad, it's easier for people to see the bad representation and think, oh, so that must be proper representation too. So yeah, it's like, I'm not telling people like don't watch Split, because for some people Split was their first introduction to DID, and I've had a lot of people say that like they found our channel because they watched Split, wanted to learn more, and like looked it up and found our videos, and that they learned a lot from us, and that's great. But it has a lot of misinformation that is less than ideal, and there's no way to know how much that ratio is of people who dove deeper, and people who just believed bad stuff, or people who saw that and was like, wow, that's so outlandish, that can't be real, and just, you know, we don't exist to them. We're over 50 when we finally got diagnosed, and your videos were some of the first we found. I'm so glad. Congratulations on your diagnosis. 50 years is so long to go without a diagnosis. I'm so happy for you. I don't have DID, but the bulk of my knowledge is from you guys. I do recommend, I love that you're watching our videos. I will encourage you to watch other systems as well, because we can only speak to our personal experience, and DID and OSDD, the way that presents in people is so varied, and lived experiences are going to be so varied. Like, it's a good idea to watch other systems also. There are a ton of systems on TikTok who are making really, really good, like, content. Like, I follow so many of them and just really, really adore them. The A system, love them. A system is great. Obviously, Fragmented Psyche is great. They're not making DID content anymore, though. They're just kind of like talking about their life, which is also lovely because they're lovely people. There's Pixie Locks we follow, and she's adorable. We follow Pink Sugar Fairies, who are great. We follow Gianu System, and they're great. Like, there's so many systems who are just posting and just being wonderful and positive. And Multiplicity in Me is making significantly fewer videos, but they are the OG. They kicked off all of this. People talking about DID online, like, they kicked that off. They are the OG. They are the godmother to the talking about DID thing. We love them. They are our heroes. And they actually experienced complete fusion on their system, which Twitter didn't respond well to, and they got bullied off of Twitter, which is really unfortunate. Twitter is a hell site, man. I hope that Musk just runs that place into the ground. He's already he's got a good start on it. But, like, oh God, Twitter is such a mess. They did a video about Final Fusion. They did. They are great. They're great. They continue to be great. They're still making content about, like, DID and mental health stuff. Like, I think their last video was like a month or so ago, and they don't upload as frequently, but they have a whole backlog of phenomenal content, just A+. I've used their videos and yours to try to explain things to my singlet friends. I hope that was successful. I hope that worked and was able to smooth things over, because explaining things in the moment and, like, being an educator can be so exhausting. Like, I'm really glad that my videos can be used to help, like, alleviate some of that. Be like, listen, I need to explain something to you, and I just can't right now. I can't find the words. This is hard. Watch this video. Please, Elon, it would destroy Twitter. Do it for the DID community. It's so silly that so many people tried to trash on their healing. Yeah, like, for some people, functional multiplicity is healing. For some people, final fusion is healing. And you know what's great is both options are so good. Both options are so good. Whatever option works for your brain, that's the correct option. Like, it's beautiful. We have the white stripe on the flag that we made for a reason. It's for fully fused systems, because they still experienced multiplicity, and that's where their healing journey took them. One of our singlet friends won't watch videos. I don't know why. I hope that if videos aren't their jam, that they read articles or TikToks or something, that they find other ways of educating themselves. How's the system been over the break? We've changed a lot. So we have had a lot of fusions. I say a lot. we've had a handful of fusions. Right before some people might not know, right before we ended our channel, we did make a video about that. But Leto fused, right, with Kim Kim. Yeah, we did talk about that because we talked about how weird it was of him trying to fuse with Jonathan instead. And then in like mid 2021, early 2021, Kit was our social protector, right? And we were on lockdown for a year. Everybody experienced that together. That was great and fun. And so our subconscious was like, guess we don't really need Kit out anymore. And like she would try to front and like the brain would just kind of pull her back, which was very upsetting for everybody. And then there was one night that we just felt it happening and we were like, shit. Like we were able to like work together to like push her out so she could write like a letter to Andrew. So to be able to like say goodbye. And then she fused and initially we thought she fused with Karen, one of our young alters. But based on the way my behavior changed afterward and my thought processes and speech patterns and stuff changed, we're pretty sure I got the brunt of Kit. If you couldn't tell. Where does a fused alter go? Into the others. They just kind of... But yeah, we all were fighting it. Kit didn't want to fuse. Even Jacob, who is our gatekeeper, the one who can like usually help control things like this, was like, there's literally nothing I can do. Like, this is happening, and it just happened. And that took me a long time to get over, because even though, like, obviously alters can't die, her part of the brain and her memories and her characteristics didn't go away. You guys see Kit in me? That makes me really happy. I'm glad she lives through me. You know, she doesn't exist in the same way. And I still miss the way she used to be. I miss her. She had fairy wings that we bought on Etsy for her that had like holes in them. It like looked the way she looked in the headspace. And I can't get rid of them because I miss her as she was. Oh no. Ah! Okay, so that was tough. That happened. Have I done something wrong? I'm not going to change any of the unblocked ones. I'm sorry that your name is one of the names that we needed to block, but we're just not gonna change the blocked names. Anyway, so Kim, don't get rid of the good memories of parts of your loved self. Yeah, I think we're going to keep the wings. I think we're going to just hold on to those and have those for a long time. So Kim and Leto. So Leto was just kind of constantly sad. And Kim is a part that was created to hold anger. Because that wasn't a safe emotion for us to express. So she had a lot of other jobs and roles, and she was host for a long time. But one of her things was that she held anger. And that was anger plus sad. Like, we were able to carry that for a while, but she was in so much pain. She was really upset. She was not in a good place. And one day she was like, I can't keep doing this. I can't just keep feeling bad all the time. And so one of our parts, Jonathan, he was a memory holder for a long time. He's been around since infancy, as far as we know. He was created to be pure happiness. Basically, he was pure happiness. And he was like, hey, boo, I got you. And so they fused really recently. This happened very recently. This was just a couple months ago. And so that, because Jonathan had been around for so, like when Leto fused with Kim was largely unchanged because Leto was so new, right? We feel like this is probably the reason. But when Jonathan, who has been around for longer than Kim has, fused with Kim, like, she changed a lot. She changed significantly, and she's so much happier now. She's so much happier. And that's good. That's great. But fusions freak the hell out of me, man. Fusions freak the hell out of me. I don't like them. I don't like how much it changes our brain and the way we do things. Like, it's hard. And so, like, I'm struggling with that. She's great. She's loving life. She's loving being out. She's had to like adjust to being out in the body when she comes out, because Jonathan was primarily an inside helper, and so being out felt weird for him. So now being out felt weird for Kim. So she would like practice being out, be like, okay, for this hour I'm gonna be out and I'm gonna do the dishes. Like, and she'd see like a bird out the window, she'd be like, oh my god, a real life bird. It's like, you've seen so many birds. But she kind of has like this wonder for the world, which is really lovely. But yeah, we're happy that she's happier. We haven't had any fusions yet, thank goodness. Change is scary. Yes. How fusions can be traumatic in their own right, like especially when no one made the choice and the brain just decides it was time. Yeah, it's tough. I hate it. I hate it. Like, when Kit fused, like, she didn't want it. We didn't want it. It just happened, and I cried about it for years. Obviously, I'm still emotional about it, because I just about started crying on stream just now. It's tough. And when an altar fuses, like, obviously that altar doesn't exist in the way that they had previously existed, but that also changes whatever other parts. Like, sometimes it's one altar, sometimes it's many altars who takes on that part of the brain, and it takes on those memories or various characteristics. And so then those altars are also different. So the way that you've learned to function as a system needs to shift to adjust for those changes. Your personality and the way you interact with the world is going to change. So any connections that you had outside of the system, any external world connections, are also going to have to be re-navigated. Like, fusion is a big deal. It's a big deal. And that's part of why we don't want to do it. But I mean, we love ourselves a ton. We love ourselves as we exist in the way that we exist, and we don't think we should be forced to fuse. But also, like, fusion would change our life significantly, and we're happy. We like our life. So, like, let's hopefully not. Hopefully we've fused enough. We don't have to do it anymore. Ed and Oz are good. Ed and Oz haven't fronted in a very long time. They're still like running the inner world, basically. But they don't interact with the system very often. They're just there to make sure that our ability to connect with each other, or hide if we need to, is functional. Miss Julie, hi! I love you too! You guys, that's my IRL friend, Miss Julie. She's been in videos before. We love Miss Julie. She's the best ever. The best way to chat with us after stream, we don't really exist anywhere after stream. I guess if people want to post comments under the stream, we'll get back to ones that we feel comfortable replying to. We're still very trepidatious about being publicly online. We want to make sure that if we come back, it is in a much healthier way, which with much healthier boundaries, and much. We would also change the way we did content. We would do far less videos that educate on experiences that we don't have, and more just like personal experiences. And probably, like, let's be real, like, if I did what I wanted to do, like, with a passion, I'd do media deep dives. You would get like 45-minute video essays about like, you know, why identity was a poor representation or something like that. Like that's what I like listening to. That's what I like talking about. I've also considered like the possibility of like maybe interviewing other systems, but like Zoom call recordings are always poor quality, and so we'd be putting up like 480p videos if we did that. So we'll see. Collaborate with cinema therapy, that would be fun. We'd love to see you dive into media. Thank you. People saying they love media deep dives. All right, we'll consider. Boundaries are important. Every episode of Moon Knight 5 times over. Yeah, we'll do a deep dive for every episode of Moon Knight. Man, we could talk about that show for days. If like with our patrons, like I think we talk about Moon Knight every single month on our like monthly Zoom calls. Podcasts maybe. Podcasts are a whole new beast. I don't know anything about podcasting. I'd have to like, I listen to podcasts, but I don't know anything about making podcasts. Or if it would be interesting to listen to me ramble by myself. Usually podcasts are more than one person. And it's interesting to like listen to them bounce off each other. I don't know if my voice is enough to carry an entire podcast episode. Always love my D&D and media, DID and media videos. I'm glad. So you are coming back? I'm not making any promises. We want to see how this goes, and then we'll, you know, consider what the future looks like. We're just letting you guys know a peek behind the screen on what we feel the ideas we've been bouncing around our head. You'd be great at podcasts? Oh, thank you. I manifested you guys. Hell yeah. Making podcasts are fun. You have a DID podcast. That's awesome. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to check that out. What's the name? Moon Knight made it possible for me to talk about my family about DID. That's awesome. Also, another thing I love about Moon Knight, let's talk about Moon Knight more. They touch on the fact that it's created in childhood trauma, but you know what they didn't do? Go and be like, don't you want to see all the gratuitous trauma? Don't you want to see every detail? No, they're like, hey, we're going to hint to a scene that really sucks, and then we're going to pan away, because you don't need to see all that crap. You get it, you know, like, ugh. And I know they did that because it's Disney, but also, like, so good. So good. So good. Like, we don't need all of the trauma stuff just everywhere. We don't need it. No matter what, we choose to wish you the best. Thank you so much. Episode 5 was good. Episode 5 was so good. Yeah, that episode made me weep. Just straight up. It showed too much. There's a fear that it showed too much graphic detail. No. Like, it hints at stuff. Like, it lets you know, like, hey, stuff was bad. And here's, like, a small, like, idea of what was going on. But it doesn't get into it. And I love that. If you do media deep dives, even if it's not DID media, you may find a whole new niche audience. I have been devouring videos by a channel called Verily Bitchy lately. She is a trans person, pronouns she, they, and she makes the most phenomenal video essays, mostly on queer media, and just being queer in modern society, but also like gets into things like she did a video on like sex work and how that's represented in media, like where it's good and where it's bad. Like it's man, if you want to watch some good queer video essays, Verily Bitchy, just amazing. Love her. Good. Yes. And queer history and stuff. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Could not recommend her more highly. I have to go to bed, but I'm so happy to see you. Have a great night. I hope you have very sweet dreams. Yes, media not romanticizing trauma. We love to see it. What's the name again? I'll type it in the chat real quick. All one word, all lowercase. She's good stuff. I just put it in chat for anybody who wants to look her up. We've just been going through her video library and loving it. I don't know what we're talking about, but I love your videos and resources. Thank you so much, Mosaic. Have you watched Rowan Ellis's videos on Black Sails? Oh, you've watched it at least 4 times. I've not seen Black Sails. When I go off about, like, online about how much I love Our Flag Means Death, people are like, oh my God, you need to see Black Sails. But I haven't gotten into it because, like, one of the reasons I love Our Flag Means Death so much is because it's very lighthearted, and Black Sails looks very, like, serious and dramatic, and for most things in my life right now, I really need lighthearted. Like, we're all living in the same world, you know, right now. I feel like you guys get it, especially if you're living in the US. Like, my free time needs to be lighthearted. So I've not gotten into Black Sails, but I've heard amazing things about it. You helped my system and my relationship so much. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad. I hope that you're doing phenomenally. Do you still have your system dice bag? We still have... Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have, right now, Andrew's job right now, has us traveling everywhere all the time. So everything is in storage, but we still have every single letter and every single gift that was sent to us, in our, P.O. box. It is in a storage unit currently, but it is a temperature controlled and, humidity controlled one. So it's going to stay in great condition, and it's waiting for us to reread and re-fawn over. We kept everything. It means so much to us, like, that you guys would take time out of your days and lives and make us things and send us stuff. Like, what? Black Sails is definitely not lighthearted. Yeah, no, I've heard. Have you watched Good Omens? I have watched Good Omens. I did see that season 2 got announced. That's some more great queer media. I'm pretty sure, at least I've heard whisperings online, that they're going to canonize the gayness in season 2, which is really exciting. But it was so funny because I've been watching... it's called the Hillywood Show, or just Hillywood. I forget what their YouTube is called currently. But they've forever, like for more than 10 years, been making just like fan music videos to media that they like. And they're like, oh, we just posted a Good Omens one. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'll give that a read. And their fan music video was also the official announcement to season 2. And I was like, what? That's crazy. That's so good. Sound Off, who still has Entropy System merch. Me. I do. I've still got my my Pride Koi fish t-shirt that I wear often. Have I watched Sandman? I did. I loved it. Loved it so much. Very good. Very gay. I love me some good gay shit. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, and when Neil Gaiman was in the friggin' music video, it was so good. It was so good. That was very exciting. My jaw hit the floor. I was like, they ended the music video. There's still half of the video left. What could they possibly still? Oh my God. You have your hoodie. Yay. We want to say it's so great to see you on YouTube. Thank you so much. You still have your Entropy System face mask. We love it. We love it. We still have... all our face masks, just in case we still need them. There are still some places. The place where we're getting our hair done here requires face masks still. I'm glad I didn't get rid of them. I thought I wouldn't need them anymore. And then we went to Japan recently, and like right at like the week that they lifted the mask mandate in Japan. And so I was like, wow, I'm glad I kept all my cute masks so I can walk around with cute masks and not just the boring blue medical ones. Because if I'm going to go out, I'm going to be fucking adorable. I'm going to look like a main character. That's the law. Very wholesome queer representation in Schmigadoon. I don't think I've heard of that. I'm going to have to look that. I feel like I might have heard that name because it sounds like a familiar thing, but it's not bringing any like images to mind. So I'm going to have to look that up. Gay things are so good. I keep go shopping and getting Pride stuff. Yes. Will I be able to watch this later? Absolutely. Yes, you will. This will be live. Sometimes you just need a face mask. Yeah. Yeah. Big Kit energy. Yeah. This is why we're like, Kit definitely fused with Win with me. That's definitely where most of her characteristics ended up. I wore a System Pride flag for the last Pride Parade. That's awesome. Did anybody recognize it? That's the big question. The comment about cute face masks was so good. You are a main character. Honestly, every single one of you gives protagonist energy. Thank you. Please feed my ego. I need it. We actually, speaking of Pride stuff, we're going to go to our very first Pride Parade this year, hopefully. We did not go to Pride, ever. For a long time, we didn't think we were allowed to go to Pride because we were in hetero-presenting relationships most of our life. And we had people in the queer community say that we were not allowed at Pride, that we were not allowed to be there, unless we were in homosexual presenting relationships. And had to, work out a lot of... I still struggle with internalized biphobia, which is why I say I'm queer, not bi or pan. I mean, that's not the only reason I say I'm queer. I say I'm queer because system-wise, we cover a lot of different identities, and so queer as an umbrella term for the whole brain. But yeah, so we're gonna try to go to a Pride Parade this year, and it'll be our very first one, and it'll be very lovely. And I don't have any Pride stuff, but I'm gonna go and buy from as many like local artists as I can and just deck out. And that's what we're gonna do. Went to Pride with our partner system. Awesome. Who told you that? Pride is for everybody, including straight allies. Yes, I agree. And I do not like that I was told that, and now that I know better, I disagree. But this was a very long time ago. I just internalized it and took a lot of moving past. Queer people in het-presenting relationships are still queer. Yes! People who are bi, even if they're in het-presenting relationships, still belong at Pride. People who are trans and passing and in hetero-presenting relationships, just because you can't look at them and know doesn't mean that they don't belong there. Yeah. Tumblr 2014 poison the internet. Yes. We're the same. Queer System Pride. Hell yeah. Everyone is allowed at Pride. Except cops. I agree. I love the all colors are beautiful cars that are driving around in New York. I think the artist who did that deserves all the cookies. I want to go to Pride Parade, but as a trans mass person who has to dress femme, I get nervous. Be you in whatever way you want to be. Go to Pride. If anybody gives you a hard time for literally any reason, tell them to go suck an egg. I'm bi-pan, and when I was in more hetero-presenting relationship, it felt weird. It felt like I wasn't allowed to celebrate or even call myself bi. Yeah. And we're moving past that as a society, but that was a problem for a really long time, and still kind of is in places. But yeah, you're valid. Tell them the entropy system said so. Imagine the coming out process would complicate DID. Yeah, it does. Even today, modern day for us, our relationship to gender and queerness is constantly shifting. Like, even just like depending on who's closest to the front, who's having the biggest like revelations in their life. Like, Daniel has been struggling with being in an AFAB body and struggling with a lot of like seeking, you know, balancing the like, hey, gender roles suck, and also like, I want to feel validated in my masculinity, like dealing with that. And that has whacked everybody's connection to gender. Just absolutely, like, everybody's like, pronouns, what are those? So we're queer. We're queer. We shift as constantly, just as, because that's part of being a system. Arrow Ace here. Yes, we love it. We love it. We love it when people are able to just be like, hey, guess what? I'm this. And it's great. It's great. It's good stuff. Fully given up on labels beyond queer and non-binary. Yeah, there's also like, it just saying like, hey, I'm queer. It kind of helps you dodge around any gatekeepiness, you know, because there is online anyway. Like, I've never encountered it in real life. It's always online, these like gatekeepy, toxic-y stuff. Except for that person in high school who was like, nah, man, you can't be here. I internalized that and carried that with me for a really long time. So with one exception, it's always online. And if you just say I'm queer, then that doesn't give them a lot to gatekeep. So you can just avoid that. And that's great. We like avoiding drama. We like avoiding unnecessary conflict because that's just stress. And you know what I don't like adding to my life is stress. The only gatekeepiness we do is the one in the system, the gatekeeper in the system. Gotta go now. Have an awesome day. You have an awesome day. I had the confusion in middle school being ace, but having a gay boy and a lesbian as co-host was such a trip. Oh, God, I bet. I bet that one gatekeeping person was on Tumblr in 2013. I mean, to be fair, I was on Tumblr in 2013, but I was not pushing that rhetoric. So. Oh, God. Was I on Tumblr in 2013? No, I wasn't. Was I? It was after that. It's like 2015. I was on the back end of it. We had a Tumblr for a very short amount of time. And then we realized that Tumblr was not a good place to be. And so we left. Hashtag stress free. Hell yes. Yes. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really excited about it. One of the reasons like I haven't bought any Pride merch is because like I don't want to get it from like a corporation. Like they have it at like the grocery stores, they have it at Target, but like I want to go local, but I don't know where to do that. So I figured that people are probably going to be like selling stuff at the parade. So hopefully I come back with 10 million pieces of jewelry with all various colors. Thinking I was gender fluid in middle school because of having DID. Yeah, no. Oh my God, I went through that too. It was confusing. Yeah. A lot of. It seems that a lot of people here have had similar experiences. They sell parades at Denmark. That's awesome. I've never been to Denmark. There's a lot of places in Europe I haven't been. I think the only place I visited in Europe is Greece. I think. There's a lot of Europe I haven't been to. The gender fluid to system discovery pipeline is so real. Queer is such a nice term. It is. It's a really nice term. But yeah. sorry, I was trying to catch up with chat. And I was going to talk about, there's a short film that I also wanted to talk about today. Something Rose. Pieces of a Rose? Petals of a Rose? Hold on. Is it Petals of a Rose? Yes! Petals of a Rose. It's a short film, and it was written by somebody who, not by somebody who has DID, but by somebody whose mother had DID, I'm pretty sure. Please forgive me if I am incorrect in that, but it was related to someone. And if you want just a really nice short film, there are two versions. One that has kind of, again, like hint and pull away references to trauma. And then there's one that just, they completely cut out the flashback literally it's just like flashes. They don't show anything graphic. But if even just the flashes of hints are too much, they have two versions, so you can watch either. It was their mother. Okay, cool. I didn't misremember that. I misremember things so often. You're so validating. Well, you deserve validation, so I'm glad we can do that for you. I liked it a lot. I don't think it's perfect because there leaves room for like the conversation of like the host seeming more like a real one than the others. But there is definitely a level of humanization for the alters that is present. And I think that's just because it's a 15-minute film. You cannot put everything that needs to be said to a society that does not understand into a 15-minute film. Where do you watch this? If you just Google Petals of a Rose film, it's dylancrumpler.com. You can watch it there for free. Have a great day. Thank you, you too. Bye. But yeah, it's solid. It's solid. It's good. It humanizes. You have the one alter who's like very, what other media representation might show as like the bad alter, the mean, dangerous one. But I mean, he definitely is like a persecutor protector. But he's humanized and he's sympathetic, even if it was a little 15-minute snippet, and how they work together and how they communicate is highlighted really well. It is, yeah, I think it is. It's a very decent introduction for singlets about being multiple. I fully agree. Yeah. And yeah, it's again, there are conversations that can be had, beyond what is presented in that, but it's a 15-minute film. It's a 15-minute film. You cannot cram everything in. I think it's really great. I hadn't even heard of it actually until I made a video on our privated TikTok. It is not going to become unprivated anytime soon. I apologize if that's disappointing to people, but the people who had already followed us, like, and I say ours, it's Kim's. That's the agreement. Nobody's allowed to post on there but Kim. That is her account. That was for her doing cosplay, and then has kind of just evolved to us like throwing out random thoughts. She talked about how disappointed we were that the Crowded Room was being aired after all, and somebody was like, oh, have you seen Petals of a Rose? And we were like, have we seen what? And we looked it up. We're like, wow, this is really impressive, actually. Like, this is very encouraging. I really like it. My Mommy Has Multiple Parts is a book that he wrote for, I saw, I'm trying to remember what the thing said. I saw it scroll past. Is that a book that he wrote for children to help understand parents who are systems, which is amazing. You said you couldn't find time to analyze book characters with DID. I heavily recommend Love Me Whole by Nikki James. It's a great representation. The protagonists are gay. Yes! We love it. I have tried to start reading again. Mostly I'm doing audiobooks because I just can't not do multiple things at once. Like, I have to be doing more than one thing at a time. That I just have to. So I've been getting through the Dune series, which one could say has parallels to DID, like not really. I've seen it presented in conversation before in like the Dune circles, and you know, I don't think Dune is something culture at large knows about. Not like knows about, but like knows gritty details about. They might soon because the movies are happening. The new Dune does look good. The new Dune, like, it's the first half of the first book, the movie that came out last year, recently. Really good. Really good. Very loyal to the book. The characters are just spot on. I'm excited to see part 2. They just started dropping trailers for part 2. I'm really excited about it. I'm opposite. I can only do one thing at a time, like, per day. It's struggle. It's either too much or not enough. Heroes in My Head is also good. It's an autobiography by Judy Redbick. How long are you streaming for? I don't know. Are we going to think about just doing like 2 hours? We'll probably do 2 hours from the start. I might have to do a quick break just to run to the little systems room here in a moment, because I drank tea at the start of what was going to be a 2-hour stream, and that was not a good idea. I want more DRD novels so much. It would be good. It would be good. I don't, like I said, I don't read as much as I want to, so I don't know what DID representation is like in the world of books. I only know movies and TV shows. I am embarrassed of this fact. I wish I was more knowledgeable. But maybe at some point I will be. It's just, it's hard because it's a lot of time to commit. And if it's not good, I'm just gonna be frustrated about it. And if they go too deep into the trauma details, I'm just gonna trigger myself about it. So it's like, there are a lot of like mental hurdles that I need to get over and just start reading some of these books. Right now I'm reading a book series. It's The Robot and Monk. There's only 2 books right now. The first one's called A Psalm for the Wild Maid, and then the one that I'm reading now, the second one, I read like a chapter a day before bed. Hold on. I'm going to get you a title. A Prayer for the Crown Shy. They're just if you want a tiny, tiny little book that's very easy to read and then just like is wholesome and happy and kind and everybody loves each other and takes care of each other and the world is a good place. Those are good books. They're very good. It's the wholesome and the cozy, just straight, concentrated, give it to me. Stormlight isn't about DID, but it has a main character who has it. Okay. Thoughts on Moon Knight? Oh, I talked about Moon Knight extensively. I highly recommend revisiting the stream once it's done. There are a lot of things I had to say about Moon Knight. I'll probably think of more, but it's good. I like it a lot. I don't read. I'm too ADHD for that. Thinking about writing a series about a system, each alter having their own book, and you get the entire series to piece the entire timeline of events. Oh, that sounds really cool. That sounds very cool. I'm currently doing like little like creative writing projects that involve DID characters just to like as an outlet. It's probably not going to develop into anything, but it feels nice to just explore characters in worlds that have DID and aren't othered for it and stuff. Be the representation you want to see, right? Partner's calling, so I'm a go. Okay, you have a great time. Tell your partner hi for me. Focusing on reading is hard. Man, when I sit down to read a book, this is just why I can only do it before bed, my brain's like, oh, we're resting? Okay, so sleep time then, right? Sleep time? Sitting still means sleep time. Let's go to sleep. And so I'm like, out. Reading takes me out. I don't know if that's a me thing. I don't know if that's just a result of being an adult in a world where you're constantly go, go, go. And you'd go, it was great to meet you, and you have a great day. A great day. I can't write either. I just make characters and stories in my mind. Hey, you know what? That's also creative and fun. You don't need a whole book. You don't need a whole story. Just creating characters and thinking of these things is really great and lovely. I am going to take a 2-second break. I need to step away for a moment because I drank too many liquids, and I will be right back. I'm going to mute the microphone real quick so you don't just like hear me bump into it when I stand up. So I will be right back. Chat, if anybody comes in and is like, why is it a white wall and nothing else? Let them know why. I'm trusting you. You're running the show for a second. Be good. How we doing, fam? How we doing? I'm back. I wonder if they still have a wall of stuff. It's all in storage, baby. It is all in storage. We are constantly on the go because Andrew's job has us traveling. So what we could not put in a car is in a storage unit. Love to see a system and alter represents as a chair. Nothing to report. Thank you. Thank you, Maud Emery. You lovely bean. You're looking so well. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Inanimate object alter is entirely possible. Now I'm overanalyzing every object in the front room of the headspace. Don't drive yourself mad. How's your kitty? She's good. I'm actually shocked that she has not come to interrupt the stream. Like, Leia, come here, baby. She must be in a deep nap. Because, like, anytime I talk at something, like, if I'm, like, gaming with friends or, like, even on the phone, she's like, hey, what you talking to? Why isn't it me? Why are you not talking to me? What are you doing? Like, I am shocked that she has not interrupted stream yet. I don't know where she is, you guys. But yeah, okay, so one more thing that I want to talk about that I think is very important is system pride. System pride, the system pride movement, I feel like is just as important as it's ever been. If not more so, because we got more media stuff dropping. We had the McLean Hospital crap, which if you haven't heard about that, some guy, this is upsetting. So I apologize. Basically, a guy who is very influential in DID research and education came out with this thing, basically like fake claiming a bunch of TikTok systems without saying that they're fake because he's legally not allowed to do that. And then going on multiple rants that boiled down to, if you are happy, if you know how to describe your DID, if you are living functionally, and if you are not ashamed of being a system, you're probably faking. Like, just so mad about that. Just still. Yeah, oh hell no. Yeah. It's bad. So, just like, I'm doubling down on the whole system pride thing. It's really important. Like, and we have the system pride flag. Doot, 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 right here. There are other ones. If you don't like ours, which some people do not, there is which one is, I think it's this one. Yes. This one is, look, we came prepared. The other most common one, that people are using. So if you like those colors better, that's cool. The colors don't really matter. Obviously, I am passionate about the one that I designed because I designed it. I encourage people to wear flags and say that they're proud to be a system. I'm proud to be a system. And that is controversial, even among people with DID and OSDD, because, like, but hear me out. My brain I cannot separate DID from any aspect of myself because it fully influences every aspect of my life and who I am and how I function. Like, that is just me. So if I say I am proud of myself as a human, by default, that is, I am proud of myself as a system. And I am proud to be a system. And I love my whole system. I love me. I love all my alters. I love how we exist as a team. And I'm going to keep saying that forever. And I think everybody should have the opportunity to feel proud of themselves. Yeah. And if you're not at a point where you're ready to say, I'm proud to be a system, be proud of surviving the trauma that turned you into a system. Be proud of getting through it and the teamwork that it took to get through that, It's so important. It's so important to, when society is saying, wow, your existence, I don't like it. You should be ashamed. You should be embarrassed. You should be quiet. You should not be yourself. You should mask. You should whatever. Fuck that shit. Like, being proud of yourself is an act of rebellion. Rebel! Be proud of yourself. Systems deserve to feel pride in who they are and love their differences and living a wholly beautiful existence. I think being a system is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I get to have a connection to my brain and my thoughts and my functions in life that is unlike anything that a singlet will ever experience. Like, my relationship to myself is so complex and so beautiful and so just poetic in its existence. I love it. I think it's beautiful. And I don't want to exist any other way. And it is my hope that every single system is able to feel like that. I think it's so important. So I wanted to just double down on system pride as a concept, as a movement. Like, I want it to explode and become, like, outlive us and any idea of the entropy system. Like, I want it to take off in the sense that I want my community to feel so much self-love because they deserve it, and society is trying to strip us of that, and that's wrong. That's just wrong. It's wrong and bad. And yeah, I wish I could wear a Sister Pride flag on our backpack at school, but someone would ask. There are so many really cool, like, low-key things. Like, if you go on Etsy, there was, like, one that's just, like, a red, yellow, and black, or red, like, orange, goldy, and black, like, flower design. There was one where it's, like, 3 kittens, like, all stacked up, like a white kitten, an orange kitten, and a black kitten, which, by the way, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, if the System Pride movement ever gets big enough that, like, corporations start deciding it's profitable to mooch our money, right? To pander to us. The aristocrat kittens, like Disney, you've got a whole line of Pride merch ready to go. Just slap those kittens on shit. There it is. But yeah, there's a lot of very low key. All our stuff that we do on like our little shop, which I'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure at some point we went in and priced it down so we get no profit from it. It just covers the cost of like Teespring making it. But it's all koi fish stuff. Just the System Pride colors on koi fish. So there's low key ways to have those colors if you would like them. I cannot speak to the other flag because I haven't seen a bunch of stuff about that one, but I know it's picking up in popularity. So if you like those colors better, it is likely that you will find, I found at least one pin that, like, they had like a bunch of Pride pins and they had both versions of the flags. So there are options, is what I'm saying. We love that people mad that you can find it within yourself. Yeah, like, I'm sorry. You're going to say I shouldn't be proud of myself? You're wrong. You're wrong and I disagree. Saying you need to be miserable as a system is the exact same as cis people saying if you don't hate your body, then you aren't trans. It's, I as a cis person, I don't want to, like, impose myself into that, but I do see a lot of similarities with the way that, like, trans people are discussed, especially like within the community, and then how systems get discussed. Again, I'm not trying to like say it's the same, and like we definitely don't have it as bad as they do, especially right now in the US. Like I'm not trying to step into that zone. But I do see where you're coming from with that statement. Definitely. Get Moon Knight merch as D&D Pride. Yes. I keep saying D&D instead of DID. Can you tell I game? I hate Funko Pops. I do not like them. I think that they're ugly. I'm sorry if I just offended anybody, but that's almost exclusively where Moon Knight exists in merch, is just Funko Pops. I have one action figure of like the Steven version of Moon Knight with his suit. And that's it. And that's it. There's so little. There's so little out there. Give me more Moon Knight, please. As a trans person who struggled with dysphoria, it was the euphoria that confirmed for me that I was trans. That's awesome that you got to experience that transformia. Words are hard. Words are hard. I'm glad you got to experience euphoria and come to understand yourself in that way. We're so confused about what flags that exist and what the colors mean. Yes. There are a lot. Hold on. Okay. I do not recommend going on Tumblr and Googling System Pride flag because there are so many. There are so many. Everybody is creating one, which is great. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but you will get so lost in the sauce so quickly. There is a site. It is a wiki. It's a multiplicity and plurality wiki. And so if you ever hear any term that's being discussed and you're like, the fuck is that? There's a wiki for it. They go into just like any and all people who use multiple system plural to describe their life experience. It's not exclusively DID and OSDD. So just be aware of that. But they do have a page on flags, and I have it pulled up so I can tell you what the colors mean and all the different flags that they list. So we've got, this one was created by the Red Rock system. This is DID awareness flag. The teal represents dissociative identity disorder. The white represents dissociation and other symptoms. The black ring represents childhood trauma. Those lost to the disorder and stigma. And then the gold represents allies, support, acceptance, and recovery. The gold looks orange to me. I thought that I genuinely was like, oh my god, somebody made a flag inspired by our flag. But I guess it's gold, not orange. If we want to shift our color to gold, just call it gold. Basically just, we could do that as just light orange. So, options for everybody. Each system is different and therefore should make its own flag, like states. Just tens of thousands of flags. We've got the Gray Skies flag. And this one's funny because people don't like our flag because they say it looks too Halloween-y. But this one is literally a Halloween-based flag. It says, orange was chosen to associate with Halloween as an attempt to reclaim the stereotype that people with DID are scary. Purple was chosen as a complementary color to orange, and because it's also a Halloween color. And then the white doesn't have a representation, or like a meaning that they said. The white's just kind of like an accent, I suppose. Then we have this one, which I already showed you guys. It's created by the Bastard system. The gray is for trauma and dissociation. The blue is for undiscovered systems. Green is for systems aware of their multiplicity. And yellow is for recovery. And then this is the Scooby's flag. I've actually seen this a couple places as well. It's a gradient of black to white to represent dissociative symptoms and lines with color to represent dissociated alters and identities. So those are some other ones. There's also like a ribbon, which is kind of, it's like a patchwork ribbon that's been around for a really long time. Your flag looks clean. There's no such thing as too Halloween-y. Well, there is. Like, some people, especially like ritual abuse survivors, like that's why we originally, when we presented the idea of System Pride Day, it kind of was built from like, my birthday is in October. My birthday is a triggering time for me, and so I was like, I want to overshadow this. What if I just used that day to like talk about how proud I am of my system? And then I was like, everybody should talk about how proud they are of their system. What if we made this a thing? So like, it kind of like built from that. So we presented it originally as being in October, and we got a lot of feedback that October is a very, very difficult time, specifically for systems who survived like ritual abuse. And so we did move it off of October for that exact reason. We ended up in February because we were like, okay, let's go. Let's make this work for as many people as possible. And these colors being in October, we can see why people made the Halloween association. But when we look at the colors of our flag, we see a sunset, we see summer flowers, we see tiger stripes, and now thanks to the little sticker, we see a stack of little kittens. But our colors, so we have the black on the bottom. The black is for systems that are unaware or that have little to no communication. The orange stripe is for systems that are aware and systems that are functionally multiple. And then the white stripe at the top is for systems that have completely fused, who have achieved final fusion, and that's their path. So systems that don't know their system, systems that do know their system, and systems that are no longer systems. So kind of, that was our way of representing the whole gamut of systemness, people with DID and OSDD, wherever they are in their journey to good life and functionality and connection and whatnot. System Pride flag with an orange to represent the analogy we made. I love that. But yeah, so those are what the colors of ours mean. And I am, people say that our flag is controversial because it is triggering to RA survivors. I do want to touch on that a tiny bit. I do want to touch on that a tiny bit, because when we presented System Pride Day and a System Pride flag and stuff to the community as something that we wanted to, like, push forward, you know, like, hey guys, let's be proud of ourselves, let's make this a movement, right? There was another system who had a small group, like, there was a small group of systems that apparently had been planning a similar day, and we're going to announce it and then we beat them to the punch. Like, I had no idea that this was going to happen. But in response to that, they started a hate campaign a smear campaign against me, saying that I had specifically chosen these colors and this date to be exclusionary words, to exclude RA survivors and to specifically trigger them. And that conversation really took off, because that's a really intense thing, and if that were true, I would be a fucking monster. I have had, outside of that conversation, all the RA survivors that have talked to me specifically, like directly, have said that the date was troublesome for them. The date was difficult. They needed to be extra protective of themselves during October. But the colors, especially when separated from the month, were fine. We're fine. We're not triggering. It's just in that association with the month. So that is why we never changed the colors. And that is why we still have so much love for our flag, because the only time that conversation was had and that idea was presented was specifically as like a part of a smear campaign, and not the feedback we were getting directly from RA survivors. And so we just kind of wanted to present that, because we still see, like, when our white, orange, and black flag come up, people are like, oh, you should know, this is actually like a really triggering flag for people. And I'm just like, is it though? Is it, or is that just misinformation? Like, you know, and that's why I also, you know, if it is, there are other flags, and that's fine. Like I said, the flag we like, that we made, we love it because we made it, right? But if that's not the flag that the community decides to carry, that's fine. The important thing for us is that the idea of System Pride gets pushed, right? The System Pride as a movement happens. Literally everything else is just frosting on a cake, right? It's just details. So, that's our publicly addressing that whole thing. Do with that information what you will. But yeah, System Pride is important. System Pride is so important. System Pride as a movement is so important. And it's something our community deserves. We deserve pride. We deserve self-love. Just straight up. So, I wanted to put that out there. White isn't a Halloween color anyway. It's never inappropriate to show your pride in any month. But just because you're supporting one thing doesn't mean you're not also supporting another. That's true. Yeah. That's also true. You know, we go all out with gay pride in June, but it's also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Men's Health Awareness Month. And men's health is important. Is it men's health or men's mental health? Now I don't want to misspeak. It is Men's Health Month, which is important. Happy Men's Health Month to all of our male-identifying and tropical fish. A friend of mine recently told me she's a part of an OSDD 1B system. Any advice on how to be kind and supportive while asking questions about the system? So, yeah, I mean, I guess this is just, like, literally the only thing I can speak of is to me. And men's health includes mental health. That's true. But it is not specifically Men's Mental Health Month. It is Men's Health Month. So the whole gamut. All of it. Yeah, so I can only speak to what I appreciate from friends and allies. That's all I can speak to, but I can tell you what I would appreciate, and that might translate to your friend. Just small things. Asking, is it okay if I ask some questions? Because I have never met a system who was not excited to talk to trusted people about their system, because we want to be seen, right? And asking, hey, is it okay if I ask some questions, gives them it's like a way of saying like, hey, I'm curious, you're safe to talk about your stuff here, but also it avoids like them feeling pressured to talk about it, like, oh, now I'm just a sideshow, right? Like they can evaluate where they are mentally in that moment and whether or not they are in a place to answer questions. So just that and then asking questions, being like, hey, I'd like to know the members of your system, like, what if you see like a coloring book and one of their alters loves to color, like, even if it's just like a 99-cent coloring book, or you saw like a meme that reminds you of one of their alters and being like, hey, this specifically reminded me of so-and-so, here's this coloring book, or here's this meme, because like, not everybody has the funds to go out and buy gifts for a bunch of alters. Just like little teeny tiny things that say you are safe here and you are normal. Just little gestures like that is so big. It's so big. It's so big. Didn't know it was Men's Health Month. Didn't know that was a thing. Yes, that's fair. It doesn't get talked about this month. But also, men's health is not as in jeopardy as queerness is in most places in the world. So we don't have to focus on that as much in the form of protest. I love answering questions for friends and coworkers. It helps them understand, helps us feel heard and accepted. Yes. Answering, like, people asking questions in a safe way. Like there was one person that we've encountered IRL who was asking a bunch of questions, but it went beyond like, I want to get to know you, and more like, oh, this is so fun and entertaining and quirky. Like it was upsetting. But also, like, it was the type of person who would be like we had an interaction where we had been triggered by something, and she was like, oh my God, are you okay? We're like, we just please, like, she's like, can I hug you? And I was like, we need no physical contact right now. Like, we're just really triggered. Like, we just need to step away. She goes, oh, and then hugs us anyway. We're like, hey, how about don't do that when we just specifically said don't do that? So make sure that you're asking out of care for them and not because it's cool and quirky. The moment when it steps into you're my entertainment now gets icky. Yeah. And I've only encountered that from one human being. Literally everybody else, even people who asked a bunch of questions, it was very obvious that they, were intrigued and interested, but it wasn't like, dance for me, monkey. Do a switch. Like, yeah. So, systems like talking about their experiences and talking about themselves and the different alters and their identities, because we are not allowed to a lot of places. I actually was talking about this on Reddit. I had the funniest experience. I was talking to somebody just about like how frustrating it was to have to mask, and how society was like, hey, you should be ashamed, and how many like fake claimers there are, and like just venting frustrations. And somebody was like, you just maybe don't tell everybody you're a system, which I don't. Like, just only tell trusted people and then you're fine. I was like, oh yeah, because masking is historically so healthy for people, and they're like, fine, whatever, do what you want, go make a flag about it, I guess. I just busted out laughing so hard because of the irony. Be like, I did actually. We've had Singlets randomly ask about trauma. Oh yeah. Yeah, just general life hack. Don't ever ask any human being about their trauma. If they want to talk about it, they'll let you know. Just don't ask people about their trauma. Maybe don't. Ever. Not just systems. Any human. Seriously, we don't want to talk about Bruno. Yeah. But yeah, so that was just a funny interaction we had recently. You love our haircut? Thank you. Thank you. We were inspired by Vi from Arcane. She is everything that I want to be. And so we got her haircut. Kind of. It's closer to her haircut in I almost said Legends of Runeterra, which is also a League of Legends game, but League of Legends is the base game. Yeah, it's closer to her League of Legends haircut than her Arcane haircut. But the point is, we love Vi. Go watch Arcane. It's great. If you can. We can't have a Netflix anymore because we're constantly moving around, and Netflix just rolled out the thing in the US where like you have to connect to the home base Wi-Fi every 30 days or else they lock you out of your account. And we're in a new state every couple of months. We don't have a home base Wi-Fi, so I can't watch things on Netflix anymore. That sucks. Arcane is so good. Yes, it is. It is. Cinema Therapy talks about Bruno. Apparently I need to dive into Cinema Therapy. They've showed up on my suggested lists, and I just haven't gotten into them because I'm like, I follow so many deep divers, you guys. So many video essays. I followed Defunct TV, Defunct Land, like all their little flavors of things. Follow Verily Bitchy. I follow, now I can't remember her name, but she like does like, the best way I can describe it is cringe culture deep dives. She does like the history of like the Tumblr sexy boy or the history of My Little Pony creepypastas. Izzy's IZZZYZZZ. Sigil called it before we could say it. Yes, it's Izzy. She's very fun. She always has really, really cute, like cool makeup, like very over the top, like artistic makeup. It's very good. But yeah, so yeah, we follow a lot, but we're gonna have to add Cinema Therapy to our list. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. We love those deep dives into obscure media, or mental health in media, or queerness in media. We love it. Cinema Therapy's video on Gollum having DID is bad. Okay, but their newer videos have cleared up misinformation that they previously spread. We love it when people grow. We love that. Good for them. Love how they handled Jinx and her hallucinations. It was good. It was really good. It was really good. Arcane is really good. Especially because they took these two very flat characters with no depth from League of Legends and were like, what if we make a TV show about them and make them the most real, amazing, beautiful, well-rounded characters that you've ever seen? Have you gone down the rabbit hole of people analyzing everything about Arcane? Yes, and I have also analyzed so much about Arcane myself because that is my favorite thing to do. I love media analysis, being a part of it. Poor Andrew, he just has to listen. We'll finish a movie, and for the next hour, I'm like, let's talk about this. We watched the new Evil Dead Rises. And for the next day, he had to listen to me break down how it very easily could be interpreted as pro-life and gender normative in the way that the characters and the devil is handled. And he's like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. I didn't notice that. And I'm like, I don't think this was intentional, but it can clearly, you can draw the lines to this, this, and this. And the way that the order of the characters were knocked out, and the way that they punished the characters for this specific behavior. And he's just like, oh, like he's got so much patience. I appreciate him. Oh. What's your favorite Arcane character? Can you guess? I've said it a couple times now, but you must have missed. We love Andrew. We do love Andrew. He's good stuff. He's good stuff. Strange Ands also does cool deep dives, primarily Tumblr, internet culture, and historical queer stuff. I think I've seen them pop up on my suggested list too. I think it's amazing that you came up with that theses ideas. Thank you. Yeah, if you're not the type of person who likes that, never watch a movie with me. Never, because I cannot contain myself. Do I have any headcanons for the Arcane characters? I don't know. I think that they're so deep and well-rounded, and nothing is like baited or hinted at. Like, it's all just very out there, that it's hard to have headcanons for characters because they're so well developed just as within the narrative. I think Arcane is one of the only places that I don't have like headcanons for the characters, actually. I will say next season I want to see way more of Echo. I love Echo, and he did not get enough screen time. We've been thinking about coming out to our family soon as a system. Probably won't for a bit, but it's fun to think about. That's hard. It's hard. In my experience, it's most difficult with family members for lots and lots and lots of reasons. I wish you the absolute best. I hope that they receive it well. I know that there are some systems who are very, very open with their family. I became open with most members of my family. I hope it goes well and smoothly for you. Yes, that wonderful moment when Neurodivergent hits just right and you suddenly have a third eye into the movie's death. This dedication to a haircut for over a year. Yeah, you guys remember when I started dyeing my hair on, like, when I was making videos, and it was, like, a different color every month. I've had this same haircut for over a year. I've had the same haircut for a year and a half. It's kind of just, it feels the most me. I love it. It started as a Vi thing, and now, like, I put on a cosplay wig the other day that was the exact, like, my natural hair color, and it was, like, as long as it was before I buzzed it all off and stuff, and I was like, who's that? Who is that with the long hair? What? Yeah, it was very weird. It was a very surreal experience. Like, this is how I picture myself now, with pink hair and buzz. Again, it's a little fluffy. It needs to be touched up, but I did not think to schedule a hair appointment before the stream. Seeing a lot of people, with mothers specifically, being very unfriendly about you guys opening up, and I'm really sorry about that. That sucks. It's hard. It's very hard, and especially with family, it gets so complicated. Whether they were involved in the reason you became a system or not, you know, because so many family members are like, no. But if we admit that you have this, then that means we were bad protectors, and like, whew, it's tough. And I'm really sorry for anyone who is struggling to have their family accept them. That sucks. That sucks. I'm curious, what do you think are accurate good ways to depict and include character with DID in a story? I actually have many videos on that exact topic. I think the most important thing is to not sensationalize. If you don't have DID and you want to write a character with DID, like, there are so many creators. There's so many creators on YouTube, on TikTok, especially on TikTok. There is a thriving DID community on TikTok. Just go listen to them. Listen to their frustrations with how they've been received, with how they navigate society, with how they have to mask and stuff. Like, just listen to systems talk, I think would be the best. And make sure that, you're not trying to be like, oh, isn't this wild and crazy? Isn't this like, oh, look how unpredictable they are, or look how unstable they are, or look at what a tortured soul they are. Like, avoid that as much as possible, because, like, yes, it's a trauma-based disorder, but, like, our existence is so much more than that. Altars are so much more than that. The creation of altars are coping mechanisms. The creation of altars is a coping mechanism. Altars are not coping mechanisms. And every person in the system is an altar, equal real, equal deserving of life and expression and love. And that's something that a lot of media misses. And so, yeah, those are the things that I think, just off the top of my head, would be the most important things to consider. But just above all else, listen to systems. Listen to a lot of systems, because DID is a little bit different in every single system. OSDD is going to be a little bit different in every single system. We all manifest and navigate DID and OSDD differently. So just run the gamut. Listen to a bunch of people. Because you are going to find a lot of commonalities of, like, wow, I wish people didn't hate me for being happy and tell me I'm faking and tell me I should constantly be ashamed and wonder if I'm going to hurt them because all the movies have murderous altars, like stuff like that. There are going to be a lot of similarities. But yeah, just seek out education. There's so many resources, like straight from the horse's mouth. Had to console your parents that your system trauma wasn't their fault. Oof. No, that is not a place that you should have to be. Like, ugh. Don't like that. I really wanted to write a Moon Knight fic, but the system I was talking to made sure I was getting things right, shot down so much, and I just gave up. I really thought I understand more, but I guess not. And if you are not a system, you will not understand what it's like to be a system. Like, just straight up, you won't. Like, you will get things wrong. You will misrepresent because you haven't lived it. And it's so hard to describe to somebody who doesn't understand. Like, it's so different having a neurodiverse brain than having a neurotypical brain. Everything about you functions differently. And so if you don't have it and you're writing a character that does have it, you're going to fuck up. And if you get a sympathy reader to read your stuff, they're probably going to ask you to change a lot. And you got to flow with that. Because, that's just, that's part of writing outside of your experience, Monofragmentation versus polyfragmentation is fascinating. Just one of many variables in systems. Yeah. Like our system, we have 2 digits. Ow. I just punched my arm. 2 digits. I think we have... Are we down to... Hold on. There's Kim, me, Daniel, Michelle, Karen, Honey, and you. We have 11. Wait, hold on. Kim, Daniel, Wynn, Michelle, Karen, Honey, Annie, Jacob. We have 10. We're down to 10. We're almost at 1 digit. Sorry. I was like, there's been so many changes. I'm just like, wait, what number are we at right now? We have 10. That's a pretty small number for a system. But there are systems who have like, you can have as few as 2. There are systems who have hundreds. There are systems who have thousands. Like it runs the gamut, man. It runs the gamut. It's going to be different for everybody, how they function, how they work as a team, how they dole out responsibilities. Some systems have multiple hosts. I am the only host. Some systems have multiple hosts. Some systems like rotate hosts, Polyfragmented with 300 plus. We have hundreds. Yeah, that's super common. I mean, like there are a lot of systems that have hundreds of altars and have to navigate that. An altar introduced themselves to one of our friends, and the first thing my friend said was, I don't like the name Kylie. Get out of here. No. Gross. We actually, like, Karen keeps her name because she chose her name. She used to be Monster, and she decided to not be Monster anymore. And we were watching Bakemonogatari, and there's a character named Karen who's like a fighter for justice, and she's really strong and like headstrong and brave, and like has all the characteristics that like Karen looked up to. So she's like, I'm gonna name myself Karen because role models. And then like almost immediately afterward, like within months, like that was back when we were still like didn't have a set name for the can I talk to your manager personality, right? Like it was like Shannon or, you know, like Susan or Karen, or like it was kind of like everything. But then like society fucking locked on to Karen, and now people are like, God, I hate Karens. And Karen's just like, can you not? I feel so bad for her, but she's sticking to that name because she chose it. It's hers and it's her name. Monster Karen, hi, send love back. Thank you so much for the Karen love. You got 2 co-hosts, myself and Eddie. Yeah, like it's so diverse. The experience of multiplicity is so diverse and beautiful and wonderful. Who are your 10? We've got Michelle, who used to go by Me, but as she began to age, she decided to because Michelle was too big of a name and she was too small, so she wanted just the first 2 letters, M-I, Me. But as she began to grow up, she's 9 now. She went on by Michelle, so that's Michelle. We've got Karen, who used to be Monster. She just turned 10. No. Yes, she is 10 now. Good gravy. Keeping track of this stuff is so hard. We've got Honey, who introduced herself on our channel as Little Bronwyn, but decided she wanted to be named Honey because she wanted to be sweet. She wanted to be a sweet person. So she's an age slider. She's kind of all over the place. She kind of hovers around 12, but she shifts. We've got Annie, who came out of dormancy after we stopped doing YouTube, and she's actually back in dormancy now because moving around so much was so stressful for her. So she is dormant again, but she's still there and we still count her. And then there's Ed and Oz, and there is obviously Daniel and Kim, and then there is Jigab and the baby, but we don't count the baby because we don't know what the baby is. So 10. Honey, because she wants to be sweet. Oh my lord, that's so cute. I'm glad you think so. I also thought it was very sweet. Y'all gotta use Simply Plural. We have it on our phone. We just don't use it. We should. We just count, like, we instead of like using apps like that, we just like check in with our friends, and it's like, you're our journal now. Help us keep track. That's not a good way to keep track. We should use that app better. There's a baby fragment. Yeah, like, I don't know. There's a baby. Jacob watches the baby. The baby has fronted once that I am aware of, due to a negative trigger. So it's just it's a fragment that sleeps exclusively. So we don't really count. Talking about it is giving me a really big headache, actually. I don't know where that's happening. I'm going to have to journal about that. Sorry if that's invasive. It's not invasive. If I didn't want to answer the question, I wouldn't. Did you get to know Abigail and the others? Abigail has since fused. She was there to kind of usher in Honey, and then there were apparently like a whole forest with a bunch of fragments, and she was just kind of like helping them all fuse safely, except for Honey, who chose to hang out. And then once she was done, she was like, okay, that's my job. And then she fused, and she was very happy about it. That's what she wanted. That's what's healing for her. So, okay, no more baby talk. Yeah, no, I don't know where that headache came from. I'm going to have to do some deep diving about that. There's always so much more to learn about yourself. What does the app do? It's really, really cool, actually. I was gonna show, like, I'm grabbing my phone as if I can show you on my webcam. But it's called Simply Plural, and it's got like places for every altar to like make like a kind of bio about them. Like they can upload a photo, they can be like, this is my name, this is my role, this is what I like, I don't like, gender, age, whatever. You can have that people like log in when they're fronting, so you can like have like a calendar with like time chunks of being like, okay, so-and-so is fronting here, so-and-so is fronting here. It's got a chat feature. It's really good, and it's constantly being updated, and you can like connect to other apps. Like, so if you have a friend who's a system and you want to like let them get a ping when you like a different altar says I'm fronting now, you can do that. Like it's really solid. It's really solid. We like it a lot. It's a very good app. Simply Plural is what it's called. It's free. It's in, we know it's in the App Store for Apple phones because that's what we use. Pretty sure it's in Google Play and the Android store. I'm pretty sure you can get it everywhere. It's great. Some people are very possessive over the power of names. Names are strong, especially in systems. I feel like names in systems are so significant. Like, they all happen for a reason. Either you choose your name, and choosing a name is a very powerful thing, or your name was given to you by the subconscious for a specific reason. Like, we know why all of us are named what we're named. We're not going to go into that because that deals with stuff, but like we know why. Antar allows you to journal from many different personalities and hold many conversations at once. That's awesome. Okay, Antar, that's a good app to know. Fantastic. Names have power. Agreed. Discord and Plural Kit. Yes, Plural Kit is really cool feature on Discord that lets you basically like be like, okay, so and so is fronting now, and it'll change your like name in that Discord server temporarily, so like whoever's out front can like get that acknowledgement. That's very cool. How's Jacob after Jonathan left? Jacob is great. Jacob, I expected him to need a mourning period because they were married, but he was like, no, that's what happened. That's what's best for the system. I don't have emotions, if you'll remember. And I kept being like, Jacob needs time to process. And he's like, could you not project on me, actually? So Jacob's fine. I'm happy he's fine. He's just doing his job and doing his thing, and he doesn't need to do things often because we're very good at communication and controlling switches, and he rarely needs to actively get involved. So he just kind of hangs out and watches over us and makes sure everything's doing okay. Initiates fusions like he did with Kim and Jonathan when a fusion is required. Yeah. So, has Kim and Jacob's relationships changed? Not really. Jacob was never really involved with Kim. He's just like, yes, you exist. And that is kind of just also how it is now. Like, that didn't change much at all. Jacob really doesn't like getting talked about. Every time I try to talk about him, I get lightheaded. So I'm going to not talk about him now. Yes. A while ago on the Discord server of a gaming YouTuber, we added Plural Kit on their server to be more inclusive to systems. Oh, they added it! That's awesome! What? Fantastic. We love to see that. Fuck yeah. Alright, my darlings. It's been over 2 hours. Sorry, I won't ask it. Oh, no, okay, no, do not apologize. If you asked a question and we started to answer it and then, like, we started to get all floaty about it, that's not on you. Super not on you. If anybody asks a question and we don't want to answer it, we straight up won't. Do not apologize. Like, that's on us. We're learning about ourselves. We're still learning about ourselves. But yeah. Shout out to the emotionless authors. They are so important. They really are. They really are. Like, that's a role that is shockingly essential. How's Daniel handling all the merging? He's doing all right. He's doing okay. He is getting to know Kim Kim. He missed Kit too when she fused. We all did. But he's doing all right. Mostly he's just, because he's been fronting more regularly. And so we as a system have been trying to like work with, because now all of us are super hyper femme. And he's like, oh, great. So we've been trying to find gender affirming activities and conversations for him to be a part of. We have a friend who is actually modding right now, who is trans, and she and Daniel have been bonding over the experience of dysphoria and dealing with a body you don't align with. And it's been so lovely for him to be able to talk with her about that. Like, that's been very good. And that's been very, very helpful. But yeah, as far as the fusings and stuff, like, Daniel's been navigating that pretty solidly. I can't, if y'all can't tell, I care about Daniel probably an unreasonable amount. I also care about Daniel an unreasonable amount. No, it is a reasonable amount. He deserves all the love. Why do singlets feel so entitled when they barely know who systems are? You don't get to know my trauma. I'm not changing my name. I'm not the host. Get over it. Yeah, I mean, people are afraid of what they don't understand, and like, I can empathize so far with that, you know? I'm not gonna not exist because you don't want me to exist. I exist and I am who I am, and you can't change that. Like, I will help guide you gently into the world of being a friend of a system, but if you're gonna just shut me down, then like, that's a you problem. Like, if we don't feel like we're in a place to get into systemness with people, we mask. But we do not mask with people who are regularly in our lives, because if they want to be regularly in our life, they will do so authentically. And if they can't handle that, then they don't have to be regularly in our life. That's our theory on it. I can't believe I'm just tuning in. I missed you. This has been so lovely. What's the best thing that happened to us this year? I don't know. There's been a lot of good stuff. We went to Japan again. That was amazing. That was so amazing. And we had a tour guide who's like the coolest human being ever. She was very passionate about educating us on specifically Shintoism and Buddhism, and how that is integrated into Japanese culture. So she was like very thorough in talking about that, which I love learning about religion. I'm not a religious person, but I love learning about religion. And she also helped me, because I was like, would it be like, you know, because I don't want to be all colonizer about the way I live my life, right? I'm actively deconstructing that. So I was like, is it bad for somebody who's not Japanese and not living in Japan to have like a kanji version of their name? And if so, how does that happen? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. Here's how all the ways you can choose your own kanji name. And so she helped me pick out a kanji for my name and gave me like a couple options. And we finally settled on like, if your name means something, like my name means like innocent or pure heart. You could take that as, you know, funny as you want it to be. But you can just use the kanji for that, and that can be your name. And then you just write next to it the pronunciations. Even if the actual kanji is not pronounced that way, it can be for the purposes of your name. And so that's what we went with. And so we got an official kanji for our name, and that was really cool. But just going back to Japan, I love Japan. I love visiting Japan. It's so lovely. It's a lovely place to visit. I know it's not a lovely place to live. I've had many people while living in Japan, not while visiting Japan, I've had multiple people I've struck up conversations with being like, wow, this place is amazing. They're like, yes, to visit. And so like, I don't want to like, you know, I don't want to paint it in like this like idolized way, because like I understand that there are a lot of issues, but visiting Japan is amazing and I love it. I love it. May we see the kanji. I don't know how to show it. It's maybe I can copy paste it. Hold on. We're gonna try to copy paste it into chat. Let's figure out. Let me double check that this is the right one. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. Don't at me. But that is the kanji for innocence. Had Japanese roommates. Nice. Nice, nice. Kanji just declared win. She baby. I am baby. How is that read? So it is normally read it looks like June. Unless I'm reading the katakana wrong. Yes. But when I write it as my name, it's pronounced Buranwin. But yeah, so that was probably the coolest thing that happened to me this year, in the year 2023. All right, my darlings, it has been... Will you be posting more? I don't know. I don't know what the future looks like for us. But yeah, we will see. Feel free to comment on this video if you have questions, because the live is going to be posted for your viewing pleasure afterwards. So we will try to respond to comments and stuff. We still do have like I feel weird plugging this. We still do have our Patreon running. It's $1. Just to like have like a little wall to keep trolls away. But if you want to do like a Zoom call once a month with us, that's a thing that we do. But this was genuinely wonderful, and I hope that watching this, people, it's the troll toll, that people felt validated or felt educated. And wow, this was lovely. Thank you everybody for a very lovely experience. You rock. And I hope you all have just the most amazing weekends. And mostly, I hope that you all remember that you are loved, you are valuable, and you are valid. Take care, guys. Bye. I'm pausing to make sure you heard everything I said, and then I'm going to end the stream.